What's up, NFL fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and purchase your copy of our latest football game plan book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. We have these available in both PDF and paperback form.
Welcome to Football Game Plans Talking with TD. I'm your host, Teron Davenport.
All right, so here we are talking with TD. We're going to keep the wide receivers flowing. We're going to go with a guy that's kind of floating under the radar, but when you watch him play, he could ball. We're going to bring in Houston wide receiver Deontay Greenberry. Deontay, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. I appreciate you coming on because I like to talk shop with receivers. You know, you're 6'3", 200 pounds, so you're a guy that definitely brings size to the table. Let's just jump right into what it is that you present as a wide receiver. What are some of your pros as far as your game is considered?
Well, I like to, I play the slot and the outside position, so I can, move around. You can put me wherever on your playbook. But, I'm one of those guys that, I like to go up and get the ball. In the red zone, that's the time, I really like, for my talents to be, expressed. I like the red zone. That's pretty much where I like it. I'm one of those guys that, just tell me what to do and I'm going to go do it. No questions asked.
One of the things that stood out to me when I was watching you was your body control. You had a couple catches there in the back of the end zone where you were able to twist your body and actually not only get 1 foot down, you got both feet down, which qualifies for a touchdown in the next level, which is where you're about to go. So talk a little bit about just what it takes, just working the sideline, working the boundary, and then also working the back of the end zone. How are you able to make yourself able to drag your feet or tap your feet and stay in bounds, making those boundary type catches?
Well, that's just something that I've been doing since high school. I didn't really, practice my game on, because, college, all you need is 1 foot. I've been getting 2 feet down since high school, so I've been always preparing myself for the, the ultimate level of what we do. So, but, it's just something about, just catching, making sure you get the ball first. Just my instincts tell me, to get both feet down always.
Very important to catch the ball before you turn upfield. That's something a lot of receivers tend to not do from time to time, have the concentration issues. You mentioned playing the slot.
I know.
Yeah, it happens because you want to make something happen with the ball, and sometimes you turn your head upfield and the ball beats you up and it's on the ground and it's incomplete. Earlier, you mentioned playing the slot and playing outside. I want to look at playing outside, that X position. I want to look at you at the line of scrimmage. 6'3", 201 pounds. You're a guy that some DBs like a Reavers or Richard Sherman might want to go against because of your big body. Michael Irvin actually talked a lot about it, about condensing yourself at the line and giving them less to a smaller target, so to speak. Can you talk about just working the line of scrimmage at the X position when you have a DB right in front of you?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's what I love. Once I'm outside, I play outside a lot too. Once I'm outside, I see the DBs all in my face. He ain't got no help over the top. That's one of those, positions where I just look at the quarterback and just like, hey, it's go time. It's money ball, But, yeah, I don't know if you guys, look into our practice film or one-on-ones and stuff like that. Man, that's one thing I really like to do. When guys right in my face, I pretty much can run any route on the route tree for him to, get him on his toes, come back, slant, go route. I can do it all when a guy's, right in front of me. I'm not going to let nobody put their hands on me.
Right, exactly. And talk about that whole process of keeping the DB's hands off you. Do you like to use a rip move? Do you use a swim? Well, what's some of the things that you do in order to get that free release that you need? Well, not free release, but clean release that you need against press coverage.
Well, it depends on what type of corner I face, too, If he's like real over-aggressive, I'll beat him with speed and use his over-aggressiveness against him. I'm just big on not, letting the guy, put his hand on, because they put their hand on, it's pretty much over. So, you know, I kind of, you know, mix it up, you know, because once, to be honest with you, who really, you know, got me on that was my freshman year. I don't know if you know, but, you know, Earl Thomas, he's from Orange, Texas. You know, he come out here and do like a 7-on-7 tournament and stuff. One year he had brought, like, you know, the whole Legion of Boom out here. You know, Richard Sherman, all of them was out here. And, you know, I kind of, you know, shined on them boys a little bit, you know, put up a couple touchdowns.
Nice.
So, you know, I was talking to Brandon Browner when he was playing for him. You know, he was like, you know, because the very first play he got his hands on me. And, you know, he told me he gave me like a little bit of game on what to do. After that, you know, I just got to tearing them boys up. You know, I got a lot of energy and stuff like that.
It's rare that you're going to see a DB as tall as you, but going against Browner, I believe he's, 6'4", and Richard Sherman is 6'2".
Oh, man, I embarrassed him out there, man. He had to get Richard Sherman to hold me.
I love the confidence, man, and that's something. Some people will take that as cockiness, but you know, a lot of fans, they don't understand that as an elite athlete, you have to have that edge, you have to have that chip. So I like that you're mentioning that. Let's talk a little bit about just your last couple seasons. 2013, you had a monster season, 82 receptions, 1,200 yards, 11 TDs. You came back in 14, and you had 70 receptions, 841 yards, 6 TDs. Can you talk a little bit about just the difference in the two seasons? I mean, these numbers were still good, but the thing that jumps out to me looking at 2013 is the explosive plays. You had 19 receptions of over 20 yards, 9 receptions of 30-plus, and 3 receptions of 40-plus yards. So you're able to get downfield a little bit more, it seemed like. Can you talk about the difference between those two seasons?
Well, it had a lot to do, you know, with the play calling, you know, to be honest with you. You know, the season's over with, so I'm not going to lie. But, you know, we had quarterback issues and stuff like that, but I'm not one to sit here and make up excuses and stuff like that. So, you know, because, of course, as we both know, I left a lot of plays on the ground, you know. But at the same time, you know, we had two different offensive coordinators. You know, Doug Meacham, you know, he went to TCU this year. You see what they did.
Right.
You know, he found a way to, you know, really just feature me in his playbook. You know, I'm not saying that that's not what they tried to do this past season, but, you know, it was a half, you know, it was a lot of ups and downs. You know, it just wasn't, you know, flowing as it was in 2013. You know, in 2000, just this past year, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on with me, you know. To be honest, you know, I had my pops died like 3 days before the first game. I just had my son. My son was born, you know, after a couple of the first games. You know, I just had a lot of stuff going on. People sweating me about leaving school and stuff like that. Well, that wasn't even on the top of my head. I was really worried about, you know, doing better every week. You know, doing better for my team and sending seniors out with a boom. There
you go. But, well, you put it together in the Cincinnati game, 9 receptions, 103 yards. But just talk a little bit about just the drive it took to be able to work through those difficult situations this year. A lot of times, you know, when you have those situations, if you're strong, you're able to use that as motivation, and I'm sure you were able to do that. So can you talk about just working through that whole tough process that you went through this year?
Oh, yeah. You know, I didn't, you know, being from where I'm from, I done been through a number of, you know, similar positions like that, you know. But, you know, something that drastic, I just had to, you know, keep on moving forward. And that's what my brothers and my mom kept telling me to do, you know, because after my pops died, I just came back. I was out there. I didn't even go to the funeral. You know, the season was like, you know, right here. So I just couldn't, you know, at the time to try to not think about it. Because it wouldn't be fair, you know, because there was a lot of people, you know, my whole team was dependent on me and stuff like that. So I just pretty much just had to chalk it up and soak it up.
I tell you one thing out of all this, no one better ever question your dedication. For you to,
no doubt about it.
You know, that shows true, real dedication, man, and I respect you for that. You know, being dedicated to your teammates and to the program, to have to you know, go through what you went through and stay there, you know, while you were going through it and not go back in that situation. So we're talking about a guy from Fresno, California, playing for Houston. Coming out, you were a 5-star recruit. 14-0 as a senior. One of the best receivers, as a matter of fact, number 7 in the nation. What was it that made you go to Houston, and what other schools were taking a look at you?
Well, to be honest with you, I could have went to any school in this country. You know, the whole SEC wanted me to play safety. They thought I was a safety. You know, Nick Saban came to my high school and said I was a safety. But you know, I was, you know, throughout my whole recruiting process, you know, I was, you know, dedicated. Me and my cousin both got to the show. You'll hear about him in a little bit within this next few seasons. But you know, we both were committed to Notre Dame throughout the whole recruiting process. You know, he was a lot smarter than me in school, so you know, he had went to Notre Dame a semester early, and you know, he said he didn't like it, he was going to leave it, so he told me not to come. You know, I didn't mess with nobody throughout the whole recruiting process, like no other team. So I was like, damn, I don't know where I'm gonna go to school. But I was real close to this coach, you know, Jamie Christian, and he was working at Arizona State with his uncle. And man, you know, they had let them all go that year. And he told me he was at University of Houston. I ain't never even heard of the college before. So I just put it on my faith. I put on my faith into him, you know, because I really, you know, throughout the recruiting process, you know, I really liked that guy. So I came out here on a visit a week before signing day. I liked it, you know, and I just pulled the trigger.
That's interesting. University of Houston, Donnie Avery is a guy. I remember he came out. And funny story, he was my number 1 receiver coming out that year. Have you ever gotten to speak to him? I know, you know, he's on his busy schedule with the pros. Have you gotten to speak to him? And if so, what were some of the things he told you about this process?
He just told me, number one thing he probably told me was, you know, that the game moves a lot faster in the NFL, you know, but I'm one of the guys, you know, once I get a couple practices in, I'm gonna be right on pace with everybody else. And I'm a real fast learner. So, you know, within plays and stuff like that, I'm gonna pick on real fast. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just worried about, you know, getting in there, you know, making it happen for the team.
So let's fast forward a little bit to the period of time leading up to your pro day. You had mentioned that you were training in Boca Raton. Who were some of the guys that you were working out with, and how would you say you measured up to those guys that you were training with?
Oh, man, we had a whole bunch of guys. You know, we had a good time out there. You know, I was out there with Shane Ray, Big Beasley, Blake Sims, I mean, it was a whole bunch of, it was a top guys, you know, around the back of my head that I know. But, yeah. But it was real intense, you know. We did a lot of competing, you know. We ran 40s, 10s, and 20s and stuff like that. I was at the top of everybody. But, you know, we wasn't able to really do no one-on-one and stuff like that. That's what I really wanted to do. There was a lot of NFL guys already that was there. You know, we had Jarquez Denard there, you know. I was really trying to get in the one-on-ones with him, especially.
I know you wanted to see that press coverage he brings, huh?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, we really, you know, we really had fun out there. You know, we had battled and everything, whether it was bench press or on the shred mill or whatever.
You mentioned the bench press, 21 reps on the bench. That measures right up there with Kevin White and a lot of the other top guys. You have the strength, you have the agility, the speed. Talk a little bit about your pro day. You know, at 6'3", running that 4.50, I think is really good. Having that vertical of just about 36, broad jump almost 10 feet. I think all the numbers are there. At your pro day, and I know this was something that you really had to knock out because of the whole combine situation, which I really think you should have been there. It's unfortunate that you weren't able to be there, but you, in my book, are worthy of being at the combine for sure. Talk about your pro day, your workout, how you felt about it. Talk about some of the feedback you got from the scouts. We see the numbers, but we didn't get to see the actual workouts that you were going through. Talk about that process.
Well, you know, they had us first the day before the pro day. They told us we were going to be running the 40 in the inside turf, which is like 180 years old. But you know, some guys clocked me at 4.50. Some guys clocked me at 4.41. I got a lot of 4.4s. I ain't never see the 4.50. that was new to me. But you know, it went pretty good. You know, I didn't think I was gonna, you know, put up that 21. I was reaching for, you know, I was trying to go for, you know, like 18, 19. That's what I was doing when I was in Boca Raton. You know, that adrenaline was pumping. You know, all eyes on me.
Right.
I knocked out a couple of extra sets. But yeah, you know, I feel like everything was good. You know, my broad jump. You know, I jumped like 10-3, but they said it didn't count. It kind of, you know, got me a little upset. But they kind of, you know, that 9-8 I had jumped. But everything, you know, I was just there, you know, just putting on the show, you know, showing what I could do.
So how about on the field? I'm sure they put you through some drills. I was at a couple pro days and watching how they put the receivers through drills. Did they have you run different routes from the slot, from outside, and just different combination routes, whether it be a wheel route or, you know, stop and go and things like that, to check your ability to start and stop and re-accelerate?
Oh, yeah, I ran pretty much every route that you could run. You know, I ran a couple routes in the slot, and then ran a couple corner routes and stuff like that. Yeah, I pretty much did it all. And like I said, we did it all on the inside turf. I had to do it in my tennis shoes. But yeah, I definitely didn't let no balls hit the ground. Everything went well. Any
teams you recall looking at you when you were there? I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of scouts there, but any teams that jump out to you?
Well, Tennessee, New Orleans, Green Bay, the Houston Texans, and Cincinnati Bengals. Them are the teams that, you know, really came up to me, you know, gave me conversation.
Nice.
A lot of other teams, you know, just looked at me and kind of gave me the thumbs up, a wink or whatever.
So, growing up in the Fresno area, Chargers fan, 49ers, or any particular team you cheered?
I've always been a Tom Brady fan, man. Always, since day one.
Nice.
Always.
Well, you know, the Patriots could always use a physical receiver that could present vertical ability too, so I'm sure they got you in their wheelhouse as well. How about just individual players? You mentioned Tom Brady, but let's talk receivers. Any particular receivers? I mean, obviously you're your own man, but what receivers in the league would you say, if somebody never got to see you play, right? What receiver would you say, hey, look, watch this guy play, and that's very similar to my game?
Oh, I'm kind of like, I like a mixture of Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Like, you know, walk all the way through my, you know, my college career, you know, like we was talking earlier about, you know, getting up the line. I learned a lot watching Larry Fitzgerald, you know, releases, you know. I got a lot from him. He got a lot of shake to him at the line. But as far as playing physical, you know, I like, you know, getting those catches and ain't nobody think you're going to grab, you know, like Anquan Bolden. I like his game and, you know, what he brings to the table. As far as, above all receivers, I would say Anquan Bolden.
Nice. Well, Q is one of the most physical receivers to ever play the game. So if you want somebody to know that you bring physicality to the game, that's definitely a good name to mention. So I like how you mentioned that. I saw a couple one-handed grabs that you made, so I could see the Larry Fitzgerald resemblance as well. A pretty sure-handed guy. So I appreciate you coming on. Between now and the first couple of days of the draft, do you have visits lined up, or what do you have in store? What's your agenda look like?
You know, I have like 4 or 5 set visits, but I think it's going to be a couple more. And I'm flying out to Tennessee tomorrow, Titans, and I have the Houston Texans workout on Saturday. You know, I'm going down to California for the 49ers, and I think that's them the only flights I have, you know, set up. But, you know, there's a lot of other teams, you know, like yourself, you know, getting in contact with me.
There you go. Well, as you know, it only takes one team. Deontay, I wish you the best, man. It was a pleasure talking shot with you, man. Like I said, I always like to talk with the receivers, so I appreciate you coming on. And let's touch base a little bit before the draft, just see how things went with you. I'm curious how the 49er workout goes. I used to cover the 49ers for Bay Sportsnet, so I definitely would like to get your feedback on that, how all of that went. So I appreciate you coming on. Let's get back in touch. Before we let you go ahead and let them know where they could follow some of the things that you're doing and keep up with you on social media. I'm sure you have I know you have a Twitter, but if you have an Instagram, go ahead and shout that out as well.
It's just it's the same thing as my Twitter, it's the same, same @ or whatever. Yeah, it's the same thing on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, and go ahead and let them know what that is.
Oh, it's TAYB _ the truth.
There you go. So there you have it. Deontay Greenberry, the truth, coming to an NFL city near you. Thanks for coming on, and we'll get back.
That wraps up this edition of Talking with TD. Be sure to check out all of my interview segments at footballgameplan.com/talkingwithtd. If you have any questions or people you want me to sit down with, hit me up on Twitter @TDavenport_NFL.